Dear Lord, we please ask you to watch over this great nation and this great state of Rhode Island and the citizens in it, and especially the great citizens of West Warwick. We ask that you help guide this council in making wise decisions, informed decisions, and always with a little bit of compassion. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilman Tucker?
Here.
Councilman Kenahan?
Here.
Councilman Padula?
Here.
Council Vice President Giroux?
Here.
Council President Goslin?
Here.
There is a quorum. Proclamation for Tree City, USA, 2016, 15-16. You have.
Good evening. Good evening.
Gentlemen.
Good evening, everyone. My name is TJ Boudreau. I'm the... I can talk loud. Okay. Hello? Perfect. Hi, I'm TJ Boudreau. I'm the Urban and Community Forestry Program Coordinator for DEM. Part of my work is working with communities and running the Tree City USA program. And for everyone here, that if you're familiar or not familiar, so there's a program in the state where communities do a certain number of tasks to be eligible to be designated as a Tree City USA community. It means that you have a responsible board who's in charge of urban forestry related activities. You have an ordinance. You celebrate Arbor Day, and you spend at least $2 per capita on tree-related expenditures. So that's $2 per person. You have 8,000 people, you spend $16,000 on all related items related to trees. West Warwick this year, actually for the whole program itself, it's the 40th anniversary countrywide. And for Rhode Island, for West Warwick, you guys are celebrating your 15th anniversary of doing that, which is really great. You are the third longest running Tree City USA we have in the state, which is great. So I want to congratulate you on that. And like I said, the minimum is $2 per person this year, or last year for 2015, which is we're celebrating right now. You guys actually spent $3.06 per person, which is really commendable. So thank you on that. And with that, I just wanted to say thank you and give you guys your Tree City USA award that you get this year. And if you guys would like to take a photo, we get
hats?
There is a hat, yeah. I was going to say, you guys have like 15 of them now.
Come
If
on
you'd
now,
like yourself.
Don't hold back on us.
You do get a hat. I'll let you guys fight over who gets to wear it.
Pie winner.
The pie winner.
Who was the pie winner?
John D'Amico.
Goslin, come close. You can have the hat this time. Anybody who can eat a pie that fast, I'll tell you.
We'll talk about that later. So before we take a picture, I'll just read off the citation here.
Sure.
Resolved that the Town Council of the Town of West Warwick proudly joins with the West Warwick Jaycees of Kent County in celebrating their 15th annual Tree City USA, which augments its townwide commitment to Earth Day, Arbor Day, and our neighborhood partnerships through the national recertification as a Tree City USA community. And further, hearty congratulations are extended to our Jaycees for their outstanding and continuous project management of public service at their award-winning Jaycee Corridor and Arboretum, in their advocacy for their rehabilitation of the Senator Rock Riverwalk, all of which has become a statewide attraction of the horticulture excellence over the past decade. In dedication to these many endeavors, the West Warwick Town Council is honored to extend their appreciation, gratitude, and congratulations to the West Warwick Jaycees for their commitment and dedication to the town of West Warwick. So, thank you. Thank you for everything.
I just like to add one thing, and I see what the Jaycees do for this town. You guys are a great asset to this community. Anytime this council can help you, we've always been trying to help you, and it doesn't go unnoticed what you guys have done in that park and with the Tree City, and believe me, my hat goes off to each and every one of you. You guys do a great job, and thank you for doing what you do.
Thank you. So, without further ado.
It's a special flag this year for your
Oh, it says
15th
15.
anniversary, yeah.
Wow. Come on, Ronnie, spread it out.
Yeah, right.
Oh, half. We'll cover you. Where do we can't even show these. Do you guys put these up down at the River Point?
I'm gonna do a couple with this and then with myself.
Okay. Need any help?
Get over here, Jackie.
I don't like that my back to anybody. I'm fine. I'm just short. No, it's good.
You the low.
Shoulder low.
What's up, Jack?
You done this before?
You sure you don't need help?
What'd you do there?
Kendra, you're out of the loop.
Oh, really not. Keep old.
Goslin, you gotta put the hat on.
Yeah, we. Oh,
Come on, you don't get the hat for free.
It
hides his face.
What?
It matches the pants.
What's the matter, Kendra?
Sunglasses?
Jay, give me your glasses.
Jay, give me a beard. There's still a little apple in it.
That's disgusting.
What are you doing?
Don't worry about me.
All right.
Great job, guys. Great job.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations, thank you.
Okay, now that, some people have arrived, before we move on the agenda, I know we're gonna have some good laughs over the weekend. First of all, I wanna thank council, I know I called the council out and some candidates out on, Facebook. I know, we had a nice pie eating contest down at Gels for a good cause, for Be the Change. Every person who entered, Be the Change is going to donate a pie for their Thanksgiving dinner, and I think they collected a little over 100 cans of canned goods also for their Thanksgiving dinner. So, first of all, it was kind of interesting seeing Councilman Giroux getting a nice hot apple pie, still steaming.
Steamy.
Angelo laughing and gagging just had me going. But wait, I gotta say the best part. I know John Wood, John, God bless you, I don't know how you did it, but you did it. I thought Goslin had it, but what made me laugh was when Jay laughed and spit in Giroux's pie, and Giroux kept eating it. I was done. And then I think David slacked down a little more. Oh, my God.
But all kidding aside, I look over, I have 3/4 of a pie going, I look down, I'm like, I think I got this.
Oh, then
And all of a sudden, I hit a wall, and all of a sudden, John D'Amico turned a switch on and turned vacuum mode. And the smallest, lightest guy in the pie eating competition was between Jay and him, and he had us beat by a couple of minutes.
Yeah,
He just came out of nowhere, so... Yes, it definitely was, and again, I thank you guys for coming out. It was a good time. I think, 95.1 said, everybody put the campaign aside and went out and did a good thing and had good laughs for a good hour that day.
Yeah, it was fun.
And I think the people who got to watch, I know Chief Barris was there, Ed's grandchildren, my kids, my daughter. Everybody just got good laughs, and
All my granddaughter wanted to see was Grampy throw up. That was it. That was it.
and fortunately, nobody
Well, she
did.
watched Jay throw up and you ate it.
All right, that's enough.
You were
All
nasty.
right,
You were nasty.
but again,
It's Angelo Padula.
your
everybody.
pie eating champions out
That's
in the
me,
crowd.
1-1, people. I love yous all.
Your pie eating champions out in the crowd, John D'Amico. They look. I guess they had so much fun. They're looking to do a chocolate cream pie next time.
Yeah, well, I'm out for the pies.
I won't call you out on it this time.
Yeah, Dave. Volunteer yourself.
Kenny Han was actually at a wedding. Tucker, you chickened out totally.
Sure, Kennahan's always away when something like this happens.
I wish.
But no, it was definitely a good time. All right, let's move on.
Consent agendas, license application, resolve that the consent agenda having been posted, all matters being referred to proper departments and being disposed of, awaiting recommendation, the same is hereby approved.
I'll move the resolution.
Second.
Moved and second, any discussion? Any public discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Those licenses that just been approved is raffle permit for Rose Quartermanche? St. Peter and Paul Church, renewal for August business licenses, Hold Steady Tattoo, victual license Maria Lopes for the Panini Club, St. Anthony's Church. All those licenses have been approved.
Consent agenda's correspondence. Resolved that the consent agenda, having been posted, all matters being referred to proper departments and being disposed or awaiting recommendation, the same is hereby approved.
I'll move the resolution.
Second.
Moved and second, any discussion? Any public discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Additions and cancellations of taxes. Resolved that the attached additions in the amount of $6,524.37 and cancellations in the amount of $15,754.90 presented to the tax assessor for approval of the town council in accordance with Article 25, Section 5 of the West Warwick Code of Ordinances is hereby approved. The original list is on file in the office of the tax assessor.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Moved and second, any discussion? Any public discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
In Ordinance 2016-5, first reading, previously tabled, sponsored by Councilman Padula. An ordinance related to the placement of a traffic control device on Providence Street.
I'll move the ordinance.
Actually, I need the motion to...
I'll make a motion to take it off the table.
Second.
I and J are both combined in N.
Motion to take item I and J on the agenda off the table.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right,
Now I'll move the ordinance.
Second.
this is ordinance I we're moving.
Those are both part of item number N, item letter N on your agenda. Those were individual. When, after the traffic committee met, we put them all, those and others, into the ordinance that's here under,
Under
item-
N,
on N,
so we
that if you
should
let
not
those-
be taking any action on I
Let
and
those
J.
both pass, just don't take any action on either one of them.
Okay, Mary Ann, can we just make sure they're off the agenda and we'll go on to letter N when we get there?
So no action and remove.
No.
No action removed because they're all in letter N under one ordinance instead of two.
Okay,
That's going to be a while, that one.
so go on to the next one.
Go on to K.
Okay. Ordinance 2016-12, second reading, sponsored by Town Council, an ordinance repealing Chapter 8 Garbage and Trash, Article 4 Mandatory Recycling Program, and amending Article 6 Environmental Regulations and Article 7 Rules and Regulations for Collection and Disposal of Rubbish.
I'll move the ordinance.
Second.
Moved and seconded, discussion? We went over this last meeting, just, like I said, it's just to change the regulations. Any public discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote. Brian?
Yes.
Angelo?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
And I vote yes.
Ordinance 2016-13, second reading, sponsored by Town Council, an ordinance amending Chapter 2, Article 6, Emergency Management Agency, Section 2-101, Declaration of Policy, and 2-102, Definitions, Advisory Council of the Code of Ordinances of the Town of West Warwick.
I'll move the ordinance.
Moved and seconded, any discussion? Any public discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote. Brian?
Yes.
Angelo?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
And I vote yes.
Traffic Committee report.
There's nothing to move.
Members of council, when you gentlemen officially created a traffic committee, that ordinance stated that items such as we're on I and J would go to the traffic committee, and then they would make recommendations back to the council. Traffic committee had its first meeting, official meeting, about a couple of weeks ago, and while we're still trying to work out the finesse and the details of it, what they did at this point in time was Major Knott submitted to you the minutes from that meeting. From those minutes, you can see not only the items that are going to go into Agenda N, the amendments to your traffic control ordinance, but items that were brought before them and for one reason or another, no action was taken. I felt that for proper procedure, the report should be made to the council, not only on what they approve, or what they recommend the council approve, but also what they were not taking any action on. As I said, I've just, subsequent to this submission, Major Knott and I are working on a refinement of the report so that in the future, whenever any of you are requesting a traffic control device, it will go to the traffic committee. The traffic committee will meet, make its recommendations to you. A report will come back to you. The report will probably be a little more refined than the one you received this time, but it's, it's totally new and we're trying to work out those details. But that item is just so all of you know what happened to every item that you submitted to them.
I just have a couple of concerns reading this report. For instance, where Dewey's is on Providence Street, the 2-hour parking. I want to know, like we have the Palazzos that live after. I spoke to the constituents in that area. They've been parking there for 85 years. That's their parking place. I don't want to stop them 2-hour parking. I don't have a problem with Dewey's where there's 3 or 4 parking places in the front, where he's got a problem with the upstairs tenants, and 3 or 4 parking places on Penta Street. I have no problem with 2-hour parking there. But to make all the rest of Providence Street and all the rest of Penta Street, to do that, I am totally against.
The report as it came through and the amendment is 2-hour parking between, on the north side of Providence Street, between Penta Street and Water Street. That's it.
No, I'm not gonna support that, because you know where I'm talking about
Yeah.
now. You have the Palazzo's Homestead. They're there. They park in the front. Their visitors park in the front. They have across the street. What we're doing, I understand what Dewey's is going through, but if we make a 2-hour parking, is it just, can we do it during business time, 8 to 4? I don't want a 2-hour parking 4 o'clock on when the people come home from work and they have no place to park their vehicles. The same thing on Penta Street. You have a couple apartment houses there, they have a little driveway, and it's always been on-road parking. It's a one-way. Comes
Well,
right around
this
Penta.
doesn't go up to Penta. This is strictly on Providence Street.
So
this is-
if they do the 2-hour
this is
parking, is
2-hour
it
parking.
during business hours?
It can be.
That's what I'm saying. I wasn't, in all due respect, I wasn't approached by the traffic commission to tell me what I felt about it. I was against it because I didn't know how far they were going up Penta, how far they were going down Providence Street. So
As it stands now, what they're saying
you're
is,
going from Penta to Water Street.
that's
That's
it.
it.
That's it, on one side.
For what time?
Well, if you want to, the council has the authority to amend it, and the council could tonight,
Dewey's is open from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.?
I think they're
8?
8 p.m.
I don't know, I never said,
I
whatever
mean,
the hours are.
I don't know, but the council could amend the ordinance so that it would be 2-hour parking between Penta and Water between the hours of 8 a.m. and 8 p.m., or whatever the council.
If they're open from 8 to 8, I would go halfway with that and go 8 to 8 for 2-hour minimum parking.
I mean, that's the whole purpose.
You know what I'm saying? They're only picking up an extra 2 parking spots, which means,
Well, let me stop a minute. We just jumped ahead of ourselves. This comes up under the next item on your agenda.
Yeah.
All right, just
All right,
just for
I'm sorry.
procedural purposes.
So other than that, the traffic committee
report should be accepted, and that's it.
Well, and then we can
Then you go to the
bring up our
ordinance.
concerns?
Yes, then, under the ordinance.
Streets are attached, which is the next item.
Okay.
Well, you can also, anything that's on this report, you can bring up.
Well, I want to bring up another thing with, is Dave Lombari here?
No.
Which one are you bringing up?
I want to bring
He's going to
up,
bring up the Ledge Street / Wakefield Street
no,
mirror.
yes. Grandview Drive, I mean, I know I travel that road 3 to 4 times a day.
Well, on that, I can tell you that I was at that meeting, and the big concern was that the traffic committee, from Major Knott, Dave, Chief Barris, all of them, just felt there was no way to put the mirrors up that would have worked. They just didn't know, there was no way they could figure out how to do that.
Well, I'm no engineer, and I can figure out a way to do it. You put it on Grandview, where you can see the cars coming across where that big wall's coming, because I hold my breath when I take the left to go to Grandview. And it's just like from Old Natick Road to Wakefield Street, where you see that mirror. That is a must. I will fight for that mirror.
Al, I actually,
I want that
okay.
mirror.
I apologize. I did not get a chance to email these pictures. I forgot to over the weekend. I bumped into an individual down at Cumberland Farms the other day, and he brought it up to me once again. So I took the liberty to drive by. I talked to Dave Lombari. Dave Lombari felt the same way, that, you know, he'd have to put a pole in somebody's yard to do it. But what Angelo's saying, and looking left to pull out of Ledge, I think we can do a lot without putting a mirror up. But on the right where the wall is, you have the telephone pole that's off to the left at the corner of Grandview and Wakefield Street. That will give you the opportunity to see anybody coming up Wakefield around that big blue wall. On the left-hand side, and I can pass this around, there's brush. It's somebody's yard, goes all the way out to the street, and
That
is
was commented
overgrown.
on.
And that needs to be cut back and maintained as a lawn, because that'll give you almost 15 to 20 feet more viewing space of Wakefield
But
Street.
Dave, you're losing the point. If you're coming from my house, coming to Grandview, when you take that left to get to Grandview, there's no brush, there's nothing. You have about 10 feet of sight before them cars
And-
whip around the corner, and a speeding device is not gonna help.
And I spoke to Major Knott about the rationale of coming down Wakefield to turn onto Grandview, and his explanation to me was, if you're driving down Wakefield Street and you're looking up at a mirror, you now take your eyes off the road and focus onto a mirror to see if anybody's coming that way. It becomes a little more dangerous. It also shows, if depending on where the sun is, you could cause blind spots.
Well, the sun's not coming from,
Well, it's going west to
The-
east, and it's going right over the top of that mirror.
it's not gonna be on the mirror. I mean, it's the same thing you put up Fairview Avenue.
But
I mean,
I'm not sure, I've heard 3 different scenarios of mirrors on this road. I'm not sure if they're looking to cover coming out of Ledge Street,
no.
coming down
My concern
Wakefield
is
Street.
you have very little traffic coming out of Ledge Street. Ledge Street, most of the traffic comes out on Cleveland, which is not a problem. The problem is coming from Wakefield Street to turn onto Grandview, and they're coming around that bend. And that is the problem, and that needs a mirror. There's only one solution there, and the solution is the mirror. Not a
don't know where they
speed
would put it
zone,
there.
not a speed.
Joe.
Absolutely right.
There you go, Joey, you're an ex-policeman. How long,
Joe, hold on, you gotta come up to the microphone, identify yourself.
All right.
I told you I wouldn't shut you down, but you gotta follow the rules.
Joe Cornicelli, 77 Mellow Street, West Warwick, Rhode Island. 20 years ago, I retired from this town. They built Wakefield, we did Wakefield Street, which I complained about for 19 of the 20 years that I worked on the job. When they did, they put this wall up on Wakefield Street where that house is
the
on
Bell
Ledge
House.
Drive. It blocked the view. I made a complaint back then that you need a mirror so you can come down here and make the left turn. Nobody does it as much as I do. My wife bitches because she's on that side, she's so, we're gonna get hit. I said, so I really don't care, because it's on your side of the car. That's a joke, but it's true, that's what I say. But every time I go by that, I get more and more aggravated. Then when I find out you put one on Fairview Avenue, I say, who the hell lives over here on this court over here? He's got enough pull to right away put a mirror up.
There was no pull, it's the same situation, there's two.
It is. I looked at it, it's beautiful.
Joe, there's two
Over the traffic committee.
Because I will tell you.
There was no pull involved in that.
Well,
That
see,
was a decision.
Joe,
of the traffic
Joe, I received
Let's just get
three-
something done
Hold
here.
on one second. I received, and I had this conversation with you. I know 3 people when I was walking 2 years ago that brought that up to me. And 3 people live on that road that have suggested a mirror coming out.
It was well
because
needed.
there's a 10-foot wall on one side and a 6-foot wall on the other, and you're coming out in a 2-wheeled car, a small car, you can't see Fairview Ave up or down.
But
So the mirror-
isn't their sight getting distracted by looking at that mirror?
They're not driving 30 miles an hour looking at the mirror. They're stopping and looking at the mirror.
Well, you have to
coming
stop.
down Wakefield
You
Street.
have to stop. You can't
Wait.
just whip around, you have
speed
to
limit's only
stop.
25 on Wakefield Street, by the way.
Well,
And you have to stop. You cannot just take
I know.
Grandview without
I-
stopping.
No one does it more than me. I've been complaining about it for
Well, I
over
don't know, I'll
20
argue
years.
with you a
And
little
you
bit
know.
on that.
And you know, you've been there, you know what it's like. It's ridiculous.
If I may, members of the council, I think you've all raised your issue. I think at this point in time, if the council wants to send it back to the traffic committee, the council can just.
again,
I mean, I drive that every day.
okay, but I'm just telling you, I spoke to Dave about it. His concerns were, he told me his concerns. Where do I put a pole? Is that homeowner gonna complain that I'm putting a pole in their yard? So that's one concern that he brought up to me.
We have a sidewalk, Dave.
Sidewalk.
Angelo,
We have a sidewalk.
but hold on, now you're impeding the sidewalk. What
What do you
size
mean?
pole? Wait a minute. What size pole you think's gonna hold that mirror? The second thing that Major Knott brought up to me, and I'm just saying, I talked to both people that were on this board, said, first of all, when
But
you're
you know
coming
what, you know
down.
what else agitates me? This is my district. I know what my constituents need. I know who's traveling that road. How come I was never approached?
I
You
approached
argue
them,
that you
Angelo.
need it or you don't.
I approached them after you called Councilman Giroux.
Giroux.
You told Councilman Giroux they took no action on
I
any of
said
these
they took
items.
no action on it.
So I reached out to all individuals that were involved in this meeting, which
No,
you
I
can
know.
do any given day, and reach out to them. Major Knott was on a 3-day or a 2-day fiasco up in Coventry, and then when he finally got done with that fiasco, he had the decency to call me at 12 o'clock while he was just getting off a 48-hour shift up there, and talking to me about the scenarios that are over there. Now, I called him, I texted him, I asked him to call me when he gets a chance. I called Dave. Now, you can call Dave, he can give you all the
I
same
know, Dave
answers.
wanted the mirror.
Okay, from here, when it comes before the Traffic Safety Committee next...
I'm not saying no.
Councilman Padula speak before them?
Yeah, but you know, we used to.
It doesn't have to.
But I don't have to, because this council's here, they can override any decision that the traffic commission does. I travel that road every day.
Well, one of the reasons the Traffic Commission was
They
put in...
doesn't make,
Yeah, but-
that's right, all they do is recommend.
One of the
what they
reasons...
want and what they don't.
And again, if you have a solution where you want it, that's all I'm saying. I'm not... listen,
Yeah, we can come up
I'm all
with,
about the safety, but if
Dave, we can come up with a solution where you're gonna put it, where you can put the mirror. I mean, on Old Natick Road, we got it on a tree that's rotted out and fallen down. So, I mean, I'm sure we can come up with some solution to put that mirror. But that mirror that Grandview Drive is an accident waiting to happen. I'm surprised, knock on wood, God, that no one's got killed around that corner already.
They did a nice job on Angel Street putting in one way. That solved their whole problem right there. Now the Deere's house isn't blocking the view. But if you go 100 yards down the street, come out of Batty Street where...
you can't see around that
You
house.
can't see because you got a nice telephone pole there.
And
you
I
can
think
put
there should be a mirror
also.
there, and I
Yes.
agree with you 100%.
But I disagree with you. There is a telephone pole you can put that mirror on Wakefield Street.
I did say there's a telephone pole, but Joe, you and I, my conversation, you kept bringing up pulling out of...
No, I use Ledge Drive for a reference
Ledge
point.
Drive's got 2 or 3 cars a day. That's not my concern. That is my
Well,
concern, but
it is
not
my
like it
concern
is on
because the
Grandview.
growth, the overgrowth, anybody pulling out of it...
No, I
Ledge,
understand that.
The left-hand side
Yeah.
should be cleaned up.
That used to be...
Ledge
the old
Drive's got
pothole.
an unregistered car's been parked there for about
Joe-
3 years on the side. There's not enough room for 2 cars on Ledge Drive.
All right.
May I make a suggestion?
Yes, Joe.
That the council refer this back to the traffic committee with a recommendation specifically that they look at it, because I was at the meeting, and the issues that Councilman Goslin just raised were the issues that Dave Lombardi and Major Knott raised there. That was their decision at that time. If, Angela, if you feel it...
I want to bring a recommendation back to find a place to put the mirror.
And
Fine.
the only other concern Dave had, and I again, was if we install a pole on the sidewalk or in somebody's yard or wherever it may be, is to make sure that it's going to be stable, because we're not going to be out there every week readjusting a mirror. That was his concerns. That came right from him, and I'm just saying how it is. Now, if you put it on the telephone pole where Grand View comes, that it's on the, if you're looking from Ledge,
that's my
the
main
pole's on the
concern.
left-hand side of that street.
Is you take a left onto Grandview.
Yeah, there's a pole right
Yeah,
there.
right there.
I have the
Yeah, right
picture
there.
right here.
Yeah.
That's the one.
But
That's
I
the
just
pole
don't
that
know
they
if you
should be
can
at.
get, well, and again, Angelo, that pole is much further back from the corner, so I don't know if coming down Wakefield Street, putting that mirror on that pole would catch that corner. And
I
that's,
think that could be adjusted properly where you could see the cars coming up
I mean,
Wakefield
I took
Street.
my car down there and I was going back and forth and I actually was pulling out of
Coming
lane.
up, Dave, you don't have to see going to Grandview because you got pure sight as soon as you make the corner. It's the person coming down Wakefield Street that takes Grandview that has the problem. So I'm concerned of giving him the visibility to see the car coming up Wakefield Street going onto Grandview.
Yeah,
That's my
like I
concern.
said, I just don't know if that pole is feasible enough to get that corner.
I think it is.
Can we
We
refer
could try
back with the committee to discuss with you the concern?
I make a motion to send this back to the traffic committee to find where we can put the mirror where it's feasible, where the traffic coming down, not if, that we do have a mirror put up correctly.
Why don't you reword it that you were recommending that...
I am recommending strongly that the
Safety
mirror.
Commission put the mirror up and find a plausible location, you're saying.
What Timmy said.
How long have you had this committee? How long has this committee been in?
20 years.
Two-
20 years this committee's been...
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks?
It's been around longer,
Get rid
but
of it. I mean, you guys, all you can do is get in your vehicle, drive by there and look at it. You'll see what the situation is.
So you should
That's all.
volunteer for it.
I've been
don't
doing it.
tell them that.
Well, you know, I mean, I take exception to that. I'm sorry. I understand your sentiment, Joe, but these gentlemen, you know, they're volunteering on this committee. I think they're doing a good job.
Yeah,
I
I'm
think
not
over
saying
here-
any
He's
different.
not saying that any different either.
You
Say
can't
get
see
rid of it.
they're
That's
off.
insulting.
Get
That's
their ass
insulting.
out there, let them look at it.
Joe.
But they do that, Joe. For the most part, they do that. I mean, you don't know any different.
I will,
Zero different.
You know, you
Councilman
follow
Drew,
them around all day? I mean, come on.
All right.
Councilman Drew,
I take exception for the generalized like that. I think the committee's done a good job. I, for one, want to thank them. You know, they don't always do what I think I would do, but that doesn't matter. That's why we have a committee.
I will
We got the
say,
fire chief on there. We got
Dave Lombardi,
Dave Lombardi,
the
right?
town manager,
Town
and
manager.
Major Knott.
Right, all very dedicated people to this town,
and
from my experience.
I will say
Right, I
that-
want to thank them for it.
I will say to the council that I went to that meeting only because it was the first meeting and they were trying to get it implemented, and I was very, very impressed with the job that those gentlemen did. There was nothing like, every item that came up, they gave it consideration, every member spoke as to their concerns, those that were positive, those that were negative. It was not, there was nothing like, they all, one that may come up about some guardrail, and the state regulations about, it has to be on an angle, and the concern was that if they put it on an angle, the car's gonna go into a yard. They were a very, very serious group of men that were handling this.
And, Al, the other thing too is, they didn't vote yes, and they didn't vote no. They took no action for further study. I mean, that's
Yes.
what people need to understand. And I know Dave Lombardi was out there physically, because he and I
Yes.
talked about it. Major Knott was out there, okay? The only person I did not speak to on it was Chief Barris.
Just to share a story that I personally witnessed, it was a few years back, I had forwarded a concern from a resident on Boucher Street. They were requesting a stop sign, and the police department, I think it was Major Knott, said they were going to send an officer out. I drove by after work that day, and there was an officer stopped there watching people go through the area, and actually he was knocking on a door, and I asked what he was doing. He was asking the people in the neighborhood just their stories of what they saw. So they're doing their homework.
I can tell the council, every item that came up, there was nobody that did not know the exact physical situation, that had not been there and had not studied it, whether they put out the thing the cops put out about to go slow or whatever you call it, the traffic controls. Every one of those items, I was proud to have been invited to go to their meeting and see what they did.
Right, but it doesn't preclude our ability to push back. You push them back. There's nothing wrong with that, right? And they've left it open to push back. That's the process.
If Angela,
And I like the process. I think it's working.
if Angela's motion passes, I would ask that the town clerk send that motion to the traffic committee informally.
And going back to what Joe said earlier, the reason why this board's in place, there was times we had stop signs missing all of a sudden, and we're like, well, that was never an ordinance. They just put stop signs up back in the day just because it was a friend's house or whatever. And that has come to a total stop. And, you know, I think this has been a great committee every time they have brought something back. And we did push, we've always pushed back on something one time or other. But again, things shouldn't be done because my cousin lives here, or my aunt lives there, or my best friend lives there. And that's avoiding all this, having that committee, because now you have 3 or 4 individuals that are well qualified in the safety portion of it, and they understand what they're gonna face if there's issues and everything else. And again, I said they took no action on it, they were looking for further study. So, and again, they can look at it again, and they can invite Councilman Padula and myself out there, both our wards, right on the edge of mine and right on the edge of his. So we can take a look at it. And I apologize, Joe, because I thought you were talking about coming out of Ledge Street. That was the conversation.
I use that for reference, so you know exactly where it was.
Thank you.
But truthfully, if they, as good as they are on their committee, if they went out there and drove by,
Joe,
they got to see the problem.
you've worked
They
with some of these
did.
individuals, you know these guys, they've all been out there. The only one I can't speak for.
I haven't worked with any of them.
Well, listen, you're.
I never worked with any of them
Okay.
since I left.
All right, but again,
Young cops and computers drove me out.
listen,
That's why I retired.
listen to me, Joe. I can tell you, and many people up here can tell you, that I know at least 2 of them have been out there.
Yeah?
Okay.
And they couldn't find a problem?
They found problems, they agree with you, Joe, but they're trying to figure out where to put the mirror and how is it gonna work.
Ask them to stop at 77 Mellow Street. I'll walk down there with them, I'll show them where to put it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, the other thing, a lot of this is
Well,
in
you
my
gotta take a
ward.
motion. You gotta vote.
Yeah, I make a motion that this goes back to the traffic commission.
All in favor?
Second.
All in
Which
favor?
one? What,
Aye.
all of them, or just?
No.
Just that one.
Yeah, okay. That's
He's got
fine.
another
All
one
right.
coming up.
Page 3, Wakefield Street.
Yeah,
I got another one. I got another one. Astor Street, I seen this. There's been a lot of complaints. You can't get down Astor Street. They're parking 2 and 3 cars. I understand that. There's only 2-hour parking there. We did that 5 years ago. We had problems there. It's not being enforced. So that I have no problem with. I don't know, not recommended any action at this time. Police will monitor the area for illegal parking. So I have no problem with that. The other problem I have is, there was something on here about Brookfield Platte, Stevens Drive and Brookdale Drive, a stop sign. Someone requested a stop sign. There's been a stop sign there. I had the stop sign put up, I think, 3 years ago. We passed a resolution, replace a yield sign. I don't know where the yield sign is, but the reasoning for the stop sign on coming down Stevens Drive to Brookdale Drive is because these cars, they come around the corner and there's all kids in that Platte, and it does slow the majority of the cars down. So I disagree with that, no action recommended, because I don't want to see some little kid lying in the street. It doesn't solve the problem, but it does prevent a lot of the problem where it slows the cars, the majority of the cars down. And that right there, I mean, it's just the way they're traveling, and I'm there every day. I sit there with the constituents and see the problems that occurs. and it makes them feel a little safer, and it's not killing us to put up a $20 sign. So I don't understand that either.
On that one, the report stated that Major Knott suggested the committee view the item personally. I don't think there's a motion necessary. I will contact Major Knott and tell him that this item, because they just didn't take any action on it, that this item should be brought back on their next agenda, as I don't think you need a motion on that.
These aren't requests that are out of the ordinary. I mean, this is, if it slows down one car, that one car might be the one, God forbid, kills that little kid in the street, and the tennis court's right there.
On that particular item, I think it was just a matter of the committee didn't feel they knew enough about it, and that's why Major Knott said he wanted everybody to go out and see it.
To give the
and bring it
council a
back
little,
up.
little instruction on how it is. If they come down Stevens Drive, we have a tennis court on the right-hand side with a gate where the kids go in and play tennis, and you have a person's house right here, and they take a left onto Brookdale. So when these cars come whipping around the corner, if a car's coming straight to park near the tennis courts, that car's not stopping, there's no stop sign there, boom, they're gonna smack them. And that was my concern on that. A neighbor brought it up. I said it was a good idea. I sent it to the Traffic Committee, and that's my other problem, to reconsider that also, and my reasoning why that I think a stop sign would not solve the problem, but it would help 95% of it.
I will assure you that I will contact Major Knott and make sure that their members, as he requested, see that spot and bring it back up at the next meeting.
I might recommend that, as a general practice, what we could recommend, Al, is that the committee meet on site with the council member proposing the sign, and that can all be discussed out there in the field. It just might make things a lot easier and deal with a lot of the issues that come up, and that will hopefully
I can make that recommend. I can send an email
Yeah.
to the committee members.
This way I can explain without
Right.
saying what my rationale is for doing that. And there's only one other thing that I have, and I'm done, because most of this is all Ward 1. Brookfield Hill neighborhood with Gary Laprasina, he was the postal inspector, I guess. He brought up some ideas. He contacted me by letter. He contacted for safety concerns. Through Brookfield Plat, through the hills, Al, you know, you live there. There's no speeding signs.
There were only 12 houses there when I lived
Yeah,
there.
exactly. They have no speed limit signs. There's a big problem with speeding, not only in Brookfield Plat, Wakefield Street, other Ward 2, 3, 4, 5. Big concern about speeding, especially now we're having the roads done. They're going faster than ever. But there is no speed limit sign. So if you rode up, I think there's 2 speed limit signs through all of Brookfield Plat that were put up, I think, when I was 12 years old. As a matter of fact, they're antiques. They're probably worth some money. Maybe Joey can sell it on eBay or something. But they say that there's no need to place signs. I think there is, because in a court of law, and now you know, you're an attorney, a solicitor knows, I'm traveling down Glendale Drive, I'm doing 35 miles an hour, oh, you're in a 25 mile an hour zone. There's no posting. I don't know what the speed limit here, it could be 30, it could be 15, it could be 10. So my concern there is to throw some speed limit signs. It makes the constituents feel safer. They know that there's a speed limit sign there. We had Gary with cardboard signs 15 miles per hour. He was holding them out when the kids were going and they were slowing down.
If I might make the suggestion, following up what Fred said, is that I would send an email to the committee, which I'm kind of an unofficial advisor to, that they meet, that they contact, on those 3 items, they contact you, and that if any other councilman has a particular item that they want to be involved with,
Well,
that...
that's my next suggestion on here. I see that this was sent out September 8th. It's posted as a meeting. Can this be emailed to the town council also, why it's being posted?
I will.
They can see what's on the agenda and they can make those phone calls.
I will I'll notify the committee that, as I said, it's early stages, we're trying to get some procedure going because it's the first time they're official, and I will make the recommendation that, in addition to the members and myself, that the council be notified of all
And
meetings.
again, if we get involved early in it, it'd be less chaos up here coming to
Okay.
a council meeting saying, well, you guys took no action on that, and get upset, and, when we could have resolved it probably before getting even to here for a vote.
Okay. I will assure the council that notice will go out tomorrow to the
Thank you.
traffic committee.
Next item. Any other
I'm
questions
done.
on
No,
that?
I'm done with that, thank you.
Thank you.
Ordinance 2016-14, first reading, sponsored by Town Council, an ordinance amending Appendix C, traffic ordinance of the town, traffic ordinances of the Code of Ordinances of the Town of West Warwick.
Move the ordinance.
If I might, a little bit of background explanation. Councilman Giroux, I think that your interest in this regarding the notice. I struggled with notice on each individual item because at the meeting, as I mentioned to you when I was before you regarding the creation of that ordinance, to try and set up a specific notice, how many people, I couldn't put it in an ordinance. So what we decided at the meeting, that prior to the ordinance coming to you, the people in the area would be notified. And I'll let Fred describe whatever this thing is who they're going to notify, because I don't know how it works. But the Major Nada agreed that on each one of these items, prior to their coming before you, they would give individual notice to the people in the area, whatever the area.
Yeah, I'm not looking for a, like a 200-foot type
no,
radius. Maybe it could be that, but I mean, the intent of this is, and we passed this, I don't know if it was a resolution or whatever, but years ago. The point was, and maybe everybody here has experienced this, you put a stop sign up, and somebody on the street wakes up one morning and there's a stop sign in front of their house. They knew nothing about it. That has happened. That's happened on many occasions where people will wake up and there's no parking, like across the street from their house or in front of their house, and they were never notified. So we did notify them in the past, and now you want to put this in a more formal ordinance.
This is being done prior to it coming to you tonight.
Right, yeah.
That they have done that.
Yeah.
And the second, so what I did was I put that in the whereas clauses, that we've assured the council, notice has been given. What, the ordinance isn't going to go into effect until 10 days after the sign goes up. Now that council knows we've given notice, the ordinance is not going to take effect for 10 days after the sign goes up. The traffic committee is recommending that these 5 traffic control devices, the council approve them, put them in place, so that all of that you've requested was approved.
Well, so
by
in
the-
effect, it still maintains
Yes.
that
yes.
piece where people, we make an effort to notify the people
I
in the area.
believe that the chief.
And it's only fair, you know?
What we talked about, Ed, was utilizing Code Red, because we can select individual homes, we can draw a polygon around the homes we want to notify, we can select streets, however we want to do it, there's multiple ways, and it'll only call those people. And we can give a special announcement
And I
to say...
think that's making, I don't know if you have cell phones on that list, and that's one of the problems.
Yeah.
A lot of people now don't have, fixed phones in their home, they use cell phones, so you might be missing the boat on that, but at least I think you're making an effort to notify the people that, there's going to be a change in traffic codes and signs in their area. Again, I think it's only fair.
I agree.
So
That sounds good, Al.
Yeah, so that, and as I said, I didn't feel I could put in here, notice on Cochran Street given to 12 people, so I put it in your whereas clause that we have given notice. It's not going to go into effect in your whereas clause for 10 days after the sign goes up. Now, members of the council, traffic committee is recommending these 5 items, these traffic control devices be put into effect in there. I would suggest that the council probably vote to remove Providence Street 2-hour parking, north side amended to delete that item until it's further studied. Item number 2 on the,
I make a
In the
motion
ordinance.
then to remove Providence Street, item number 2 on the ordinance.
I'll second.
Moving second to remove Providence Street, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I will resubmit the ordinance as amended to Paula tomorrow.
That'll be for second reading.
Yeah.
Any other comments, questions?
We have to move the ordinance as amended.
I'll move the ordinance as amended by Councilman Kennahan.
Second.
Any public comment? Hearing none, roll call vote. Brian?
Yes.
Angela?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
And I vote yes.
Thank you, Council, and I want to say that
Thanks,
I'm
Al.
very happy with the job the council did in making that committee official, because I was very impressed with it.
Thank you, Al.
Thanks, Al.
Appointment for the West Warwick Zoning Board of Review. Resolved that the council hereby appoints the following individual to serve as a member of the West Warwick Zoning Board of Review for the town of West Warwick for term to expire July 2021.
I'll move the resolution,
Second.
Moved and seconded.
and, yes, there's one name,
It's actually two names.
two names, but anyway, I just want to clarify one thing and ask Mr. President, isn't it, whoever was on that board, if they were alternates, most of the time, we moved them up for permanent, and then the new person coming in would take their spot as an alternate. I mean, we always did that, it was always the fair way, and I
Yeah.
just got a letter from you, from Alan Horick, that he's been on there for 12 years, he's been an alternate, he's moving his name up to be permanent. I mean,
Well, there's two things here. I know Justin Kutu did apply, but this is, in parentheses, it says Democrat. And this is Patty Morgan's seat, which has to be a Republican.
Republican, and
Based upon-
Horick is it a Republican?
Horick is a Republican, if I'm correct.
The,
Did you confirm that today? Mary Ann? Was that confirmed today?
Then I move the name of Alan Horick for the
Second.
zoning board appointment, for the Republican appointment.
I was just going to say that the composition of the board, what the charter says, is that there can be no more than 3 from one party.
And we already had, I know there's 3
Okay,
Democrats.
I don't know the composition of the.
Give me the
members.
names again. Felix,
No.
No, not Felix,
Bob
no.
Messier is chairman.
Bob Messier is
Mike
Democrat.
McPhillips is vice chairman. Peter Calci's on the board. Debbie
Democrat.
Schusterman's on. The alternates right now are John D'Amico and Alan Horick. Patricia's gone.
John, you're a Democrat?
And the charter goes further and says that the alternates must be 1 from each of the major parties, so you need a
What is
Republican.
Schusterman?
I don't know the composition of the board.
Is it Dem, Kelsey's a Dem? Messier's a Democrat.
Schusterman's a
So
Democrat.
we
So
have
there's-
3 Dems.
we have 3
John's a
Dems.
Dem, that's 4.
Well, John's an alternate, so
He's
the
an
alternate has to be, the main body has to be
3 to 2.
No, 3 to 2, or 2, 1 and 2, or whatever it may be.
No more
No
than
more than
3.
3.
More than 3.
More
So,
than 3.
unfortunately,
Horak would be taking Morgan's place out of R, so it'd be
Yeah.
the same.
then even the alternate would have to be a Republican based upon what you just
But
told us.
that would be an open spot. Horak's spot would now be open.
So there's no Democrat appointment opening.
No.
As of right now.
As of right now.
So
Unless
now
Mr.
we still
D'Amico
have a
wins the
Republican
election,
that we
or
have to
whatever
fill
may
as
happen.
as a alternate.
Right, that would happen.
The only, Angela, let me
If you
just
move-
clarify
If
something.
you move Horak up, his spot becomes open as an alternate.
So, yes, and then John is running for Ward 5. If he happens to win Ward 5,
Then you have a Democrat opening.
then John cannot serve on that board any longer.
Then you'll have 2 alternate
Then you have
openings.
2 alternate openings, yes.
As I said in the letter to the council, I sent out the email, I stress the importance of this because the state law is crazy on it. In order for the zoning board to sit and hear a matter, you have to have 5 people sitting. If there's only 4, the zoning board can sit for the sole purpose of continuing a matter to a date certain. If we don't have 4, then nothing can happen. and the applicant who's gone through all of the notice to everybody within 200 feet has to start all over again. So the composition of the zoning board, to keep it full, is a very, very, in my opinion, is a very, very important, and that's why I took the liberty of sending my email to the council members a couple of weeks ago.
Yep.
That,
So I have a motion for Mr. Harp. Second. Yeah, in a second.
Yeah, if I could just say, I served with Alan on the zoning board back in 2007, 2008, and I've sat before that board when he's been in as the alternate. He's a great guy for that board. He's level-headed, makes good decisions, and is a good choice to move up on that board.
There's no other one for us to pick from, so it's got to be him anyway.
Any public comment? Ed?
I just want to acknowledge, the one that did apply, and congratulations, Mr. Kutu, for applying. Very civic-minded individual, impressed by his resume, what he's done so far with his life. Congratulations. I guess he's in law school now?
And again, you can look to see what happens in
Where is he?
November.
Is he here?
No.
Yeah, he's here.
Oh, is he? I didn't see him.
Anyway,
Something for you, Justin.
absolutely, Justin, so.
No, and again, come November, depending on what happens in Ward 5, both candidates in the crowd, if John wins, then that opens up a Democratic seat on that board. So we normally try to keep the applications for a couple of months, so that way there, if something does open, they can resubmit. I'll call you and ask you if you want to be on, or still willing to be on. So we'll make sure that you keep that in mind. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Discussion action, council chambers, audio equipment.
You're really pushing this, huh?
Go get it, Fred. It's on.
Don't push way hard. Hold on.
It's on.
No, it's okay.
No, it's on. Not 4 years, like, not to mention anyone's name in
Yeah,
the video.
don't. Hey, it's there. It's working.
Yeah, again, we just have an opportunity now. We didn't have the
Laughing,
luxury of
Ken.
having a company that could help us do this and set it all up and do it the way that it should be done. What the proposal is a system that would be automated. There's no pushing buttons to speak. When you speak, it adjusts the levels automatically, and it's particularly designed for the video feed, so that when it's streaming, what people are listening to at home, they can hear everybody. Given that we have invested so much in the system and the software for the agenda management and all the stuff that we're doing right now, I just think to go the extra step and really make it what it should be is something I think is worthwhile, but again, it's up to the council to make that call.
I've heard so many comments about the people that are using our video system.
A lot of people watch it.
And either live, the
Problem.
biggest complaint
The
is
sound.
the sound is terrible. So let's go the next step. Let's invest. We've invested a lot of money, a lot of time, our time in installing this and getting the right equipment.
I agree.
The audio is the last piece, and I think, the citizens deserve it. They want this, and I think we should put it in place.
And again, all of this equipment that's here now, the school committee's already expressed an interest in taking it if we're not going to be using it anymore. So it's not like we're going to be tossing it away.
It's a bidding war.
How much?
All right. You get a consensus on that. Town manager's report.
Okay, a couple items. Number one, the update on the building official, the status of that process. We've been interviewing for the last 2 weeks. We've got,
Candidates.
it's tough, but yeah, we've got a couple of what we feel are strong candidates that we're looking at. We're likely to extend an offer later this week to one of those candidates. And so I'll be presenting an individual to you at the next meeting, if all goes well, assuming, there's an agreement and acceptance. But it's critical, obviously, that we get this filled as soon as possible. In the meantime, I do have to express thanks to the town of Coventry, City of Warwick, and the town of East Greenwich. They've all provided assistance to us for their building officials have come in, they've reviewed plans for us, they've done inspections for us, so they've been trading off. So it's not a burden on any one of them. So it's worked well to this
Free of
point.
charge?
For the most part, yeah, it has been. And there's, the last part of that is we've also accelerated our e-permitting process. The state was going to have us online the end of the month. I requested, and the state building official, Jack Lydon, also requested on our behalf that we get accelerated so that all of our submittals will now be online, and the state building office can access it if we need somebody in a pinch to review plans or do anything or schedule. So they'll have access to everything. So it'll help us not just for this situation, but in the future, if anything were to come up, we'd have that ability to have people that need to review those plans. So that all comes online next Tuesday. We'll be live on the e-permitting system. And you'll notice that also includes, if you go upstairs, there's a kiosk that'll be at the desk of the building office. So anybody can submit their permits from home and pay and do everything and submit their plans or at their office, or they can do it there at the kiosk if they don't want to, wait. So it'll make things a lot better and smoother functioning, I think. In relation to that, ahead of what I know Councilman Giroux wants to speak about a little bit later, I've also done a lot of research on a software product for citizen request management. It's called CRM. It's the 311 systems you see in a lot of cities now. What it does, it's a combination of tools, but the main one is a mobile app that allows a resident, a council member, an employee, when they're out and about, if they see something, they see trash on the street, they see a pothole, they see an unregistered car, they can snap a picture, it locates it on the map, and automatically they say, trash, and snap the picture. That complaint would go to the correct department with an email. We can set it up so the council member for that ward gets an email, and then it tracks the response. The people immediately get an email response saying your complaint's been received and such is working on it, and we'll notify you when it's been resolved.
And Joe left.
And I think it's something that, right now, I've looked at about.
Don't give him the number.
It also allows that people that call in with complaints, that we would utilize the same system so that all complaints will be centralized. So someone calls in, the secretary would, at that point, would enter it into that system, and then it would do the same thing. It would route all the emails to the proper authorities and track it. And then it also has report functions, so at the end of each month, we can say, there have been 20 reports on trash, there have been 15 reports on potholes, and that way we can use that to focus resources at budget time to say, look, this is a major issue, here's the data to back it up, and this is what we're going to do. But the most important thing I think it does is it allows for accountability and allows for people to just feel that they're being responded to immediately. And it forces the accountability, which I think is key. I've looked at about 7 different versions of this. One of the benefits of being at the conference last week was that all the vendors were there. So I went through and sat down with several of them. There's a ton of them, but some are a lot better than others, as you might imagine. So I'm working with John. We're going to put out an RFP for this service. Near as I can tell, it's going to be in the range of between $800 and $1,000 a month for the service, which I think is well worth it, considering the value that I think we're going to get out of this system.
We'll see the results. I mean,
absolutely.
This is something. The bottom line is we don't have enough resources for our war on cleaning up this town. We just don't have the resources. I mean, we all know that. We're all walking around. I mean, like some of the things I just couldn't believe have been there, for weeks and months, and whether they've been called in or not, they still don't have the ability. So, I mean, I'd like to talk about also how seriously we are about providing the resources. This service is going to be great. I had recommended before, knowing about this service, was that we let a couple of high school kids after school, with their iPhones, and go around and do exactly that. Take pictures, maybe a video with the, saying where the location is, and it gets sent over here. So at least it's on record. I call them spotters. Minimum wage, maybe a few hours a week, where this way we're sure that they're taking a route around town and we're seeing things like this. We need to act quickly. Not a car that's junk on next to a person's house on the sidewalk, obviously there for months because of the grass and the flat tires, and it's not registered, and it's been there for months. Right? It seems to be our strategy is wait until they complain. I'm not for that anymore. I want to be proactive. We've got to be proactive to tell, whether they, whatever property owner, whether it's a landlord, whether it's a regular a single family, multiple family, we're not going to tolerate that. Your neighbors shouldn't have to tolerate it. It's incredible. And, win, lose, or draw this election, something's got to be done about this. I understand why the people are upset. You go down any road and you'll see a nice house, well-kept house, nice lawn, you can tell, nice flowers, they've invested in flowers, things like that. And right next door, they got to live to somebody that obviously isn't taking care of their house. Maybe the bank owns it, I don't know, but you look at the eaves and they're all rotted out, ready to fall down. There's junk, not on the sidewalk, but right there in plain view, that is a heap of junk that's been there obviously for weeks. We've got to change that. We've got to be proactive, and if it means investing more money in some personnel, and I'm suggesting some high school kids for a few hours a week after they get out of school, drive around, take the pictures and report it.
You can make up with the fines.
As simple as that, and that way we know that we've got coverage, and we're checking all over the side streets, the main thoroughfares, whatever. We've got to get serious on there, because I really think that in some sections, blight is going to start to set in. And we don't want that. That's not going to bring businesses here to West Warwick. It's an investment, so we've got to get serious about it. Or put our money where our mouth is, and invest in some type of method. This is great. This is great. You were reading my mind, right? And that's great. We've got to do more than we're doing. Our residents deserve it. They want it. They demand it. We've got to, weed out the bad ones and tell them that we mean business, and clean up our neighborhoods. As simple as that. And this has been like a constant battle for years and years and years. And I just think in some areas, I think we're slipping, and we've got to fix it.
Fred, as part of the programming, is there anything for resolution of issues?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because what I wouldn't want to see is somebody taking a picture.
No, it has to be.
And nothing got done right.
No, it
Something
has to be.
to be resolved, where somebody just can't delete an email,
Correct.
delete it, or whatever.
Yeah, and that's why, I would put in the controls that I would get notified on all of them, and if the council so desires, that the council member for that ward would get notified as well.
And then in your weekly managers meeting, or bi-weekly,
We
or
can
whatever
go over
you have,
stats.
you go over stats.
Absolutely.
See why particular items are still open, haven't
Sure.
been resolved, what are you doing about
Yeah.
that? And then it's not just, somebody having
And by
to
the
take
way-
a picture, hey, I sent you this picture last week. Hey, I sent it the week before, too.
And by the way, that's fully transparent. Anybody will be able to go up onto the system and see how many complaints, in what areas, and what the response time was. And it allows us then to set goals for response times, and allows us to do all that. So it makes sense, and for the, what I think is a rather minimal investment for the power of a tool like this, I think it's well worthwhile that we pursue it, so.
I think it is. But I still want to talk about,
Oh, absolutely.
even
There's
still,
much more
I
we
want
have
to
to
talk
do.
about
Yeah.
how we can get our people some help. I'm convinced that they're really trying, but there's only so many hours in the day. And just the fact of going out there and capturing these things to let them know.
Right.
Then.
And that will help, that'll help
Oh, I
them
think
to
it will,
know.
and maybe next time we can talk about it and move on it, and try it out. Give it a 60-day period. As far as the investment, it'll be, very, very small, relatively speaking. But I think it would be very, very effective. And also tell the people that we mean
serious.
business. Yeah, we're serious.
Exactly. Quickly, too, the next newsletter is going to be coming out in about a week. If any council member wants to, do a story, a letter, talk about a topic, I mentioned that in the past, but, that offer's always there. So if you want to get something, just let me know after the meeting.
Looking for subscriptions.
I'll have to look at it. The numbers are still fairly low, but we need to keep
We need to promote it.
keep promoting it. Yeah.
Well, then keep us informed and let's do what we have to do.
Only we knew someone with a newspaper that could promote this.
When I go to the door, I'm telling people about it.
Good.
To
And that'll
So go to our
help.
website, it's right there, and get on board. West Warwick Connect.
If only you did.
I gave Councilman Kenahan a quick update on the fishing pier, just so you know. We had to resubmit an amendment to the DEM permit that was submitted on Friday. They had to re-engineer it. Then it's should be approved from a review standpoint by Monday, is what we're being told. So that's a very fast turnaround for DEM. They're working very closely with us to get this moving, so we should be back in business next week. IT update, we are transitioning to the new IT company. They're doing their onboarding now, and they're meeting with the various departments. So that's going well. We're finding some interesting things as we go along, but it's going to be, I think, a good transition for us and definitely help us on the security side. Finally, I just want to mention, I know everyone's probably watching the forecast for the hurricane. We are watching it very closely, and citizens should also be watching it very closely. This is a major storm event, and if it tracks, still uncertain right now, but right now they're saying it's going to impact us in some way.
It's going to be a Category 1 by 10.
Yeah. So we're actually meeting, the first responders and the EMA folks are meeting on Thursday just to review where the storm is, likelihood, and come up with plans, because obviously it's going to be on a holiday weekend, which is, how these things work. So we're going to put plans in place. But just so you know, we're watching it, and we'll be here.
Any questions for the manager? Thank you, Fred.
Finance update?
Going to make it short. As far as the audit, we are continuing with the external audit with Markham. They're at the school department. They're going to be finishing up within the next couple of weeks, and then we'll start working on the town side. Fred mentioned the IT transition, so I won't go into that. I did go to a meeting a couple of weeks ago that I had mentioned to the council for the transparency portal with the state. There is another meeting set for next week, and I'll give an update to the council at another point in time with that. But basically, as we talked about last time, it's going to give an opportunity for citizens to be able to compare the town of West Warwick to other municipalities as far as expenses and revenues and good stuff like that. So, any questions?
No, but I have a few more for Fred.
You missed it.
You missed the boat. No,
You missed the boat.
He didn't. He didn't. Well, is it too much on the agenda? He didn't talk about the solar panels on the Civic Center.
We'll go on that.
Yeah, I want to bring it.
Public comment? Okay, you
Water
did.
report, either way. Yeah. All right, water report's 5.
Relatively quiet, with the exception of speeders in Ward 5. Had some concerns on Campbell Street that were brought before the Traffic Safety Committee. Spoke with Major Knott, and they've stepped up a presence there and looking to do what they can to curb things there. Also had another concern about Greenbush Road. Greenbush, if you're coming in from New London, comes down that big hill, and folks get a good head of steam going there. And when school's going in and out of session, there was a report of a close accident to someone who had actually crossed over the line. So I've asked the Traffic Safety Committee to look at something maybe similar to what was done on Pulaski Street there near the daycare, is it? Mm-hmm. Over in that area, to see if that's a viable option there.
Make sure you check with the neighbors.
Yes.
To see what,
want it, yeah.
to see if that, is a worthwhile investment.
Thank you. 4.
And for last week, one of the issues I had to deal with was a resident reached out to me because there's a lot of, obviously, water main construction going on. Kent County Water is blanketing, the area of Ward 4 between 117 and Queeset Ave. So the resident was pretty upset at the condition that the road was left in. Obviously, this work is happening on a day-to-day basis, so I reached out to Fred. We spoke with Dave Lombari, who ended up sitting down and having a meeting with Kent County Water Authority or their representative, and that resident actually just got back to me today, thanking me and wanting me to extend the thanks to Dave and Fred for reaching out to Kent County Water, because I guess they came out yesterday and they pretty much cleaned up the site so that even though it's patchwork that you can drive on, because we know that the permanent coat isn't going to get done until the spring, but we don't want it to be a motocross track for the rest of the winter. So the resident was very happy, so I just wanted to share that thanks to you guys. So that's it in 4.
3.
You're on it.
Yeah, it's been quiet. Other than, a lot of phone calls on trash and violations and things like that. I know we used to get the complaints from the minimum housing office. They used to get emailed to us. I don't see them coming anymore. I haven't seen them coming in.
The building grievance was sent to us 2 days ago from Pam Poole.
I got the revenue, but I'm not getting anything else.
Oh, no, I got the building grievance that has all the complaints.
No, we don't.
It wasn't attached
I
to
haven't
it?
received them in about a year.
Yeah, I haven't received them probably.
No,
the same amount of time.
Pam is very faithful in
Yeah.
sending that out.
No, I get the revenue. That's all I get is the revenue.
No more complaints.
Has anybody else gotten the complaint? Well, I used to get the
Has
whole
a second
thing.
attachment.
It's,
Hold on. Give me a second.
Yeah.
I'll
No, yeah,
confirm.
I haven't gotten them.
No, I know I
over
haven't.
yet.
I've been looking at it. Unless she's including it.
I think it's in
within
the
the
second
revenue?
tab on the bottom. Hold on one sec.
No,
I know.
mine's just one.
I know Ed, you're pretty good with Excel,
Yeah.
but just checking.
Well, in any case, it would be nice to get that again, because I have gotten a few complaints where people have called it in, and I'm not saying the office isn't doing their job at all, but they have called in or have come down, and it's been been maybe recorded, but no action has been taken after like months, pretty serious violations too. So again, this is all part of
They're not coming.
yeah, this is all part of the effort.
address is on this.
And thanks so much, Fred, on pushing this forward. And we'll talk about it some more, because I think we're going to have to talk to CDBG, and I think we've got to look over the next few years of a plan of attack, because it's not going to happen overnight. So I think we need to look at some CDBG money, community development block grant money, and target different areas in the town to try to help these people that are faithful in investing, paying their taxes, investing in their properties, we've let some areas slide because of money. Obviously because of money. Also, another couple of weeks, we're going to be having a meeting at the senior center. I think it's on the October 19th at 6 o'clock at the senior center. And we have done an engineering study down. This is to mitigate the flooding down in the Shippey Ave area, Pond Street, all that area. Those people have suffered tremendously. I always made the promise that as soon as we get some money, so either federal money or whatever, that I would try to do whatever we could. We did an initial study, it's $1.75 million. This new study using new techniques, and that study should be online. If it's not, I'll make sure I'll get you a copy of the PDF so that you can take a look at it. And they're using new techniques to, I don't know what the word is, I'm not an engineer, but like buffer the water coming in, like little mini retention ponds under the sidewalks and bump outs and things like that. It's really pretty cool, the technology. And now they think it's going to take $1.2 million, but half of the problem is Coventry's. We're meeting with Coventry this Friday, after one meeting being canceled. So this Friday, to talk about it, see are they committed to helping out this flooding problem. I am. What we've changed this year on the road bond money is now it allows you to use the money for infrastructure, not only just roads. And I have earmarked about $500,000 to try to mitigate some of the terrible flooding down there, what the people in that neighborhood have to go through. And this is, again, things that are going to take years to do. We're going to start now, invest some money in it, hopefully Coventry will, but there's other areas of the town, not only in Ward 3, but all over the place, and we really have to start targeting and seeing what we're going to do, whether it's short-term or long-term, but we've got to be committed to get started on it and have some type of plan on it. That's it for Ward 3.
Okay, 2, couple of things. I know I just sent over Chief Silver speeding issues North Pleasant Street. Ever since they repaved the Cranston side, that's become a drag area. And I'll be honest, you don't even have to touch the gas. If you start on the top of the Cranston side and let your car go on its own, it goes 50. I've tested it. I've stopped before I got to the West Warwick line, though.
Of course you did.
But no,
Gee, Dave, I wouldn't want to rob a bank with you.
I'll admit it. Also, I got to attend a dinner at the youth center last week for SAD, which is not Students Against Drunk Driving, but not to be mixed up. It's Students Against Destructive Decisions. They came before the council a little while back, probably about a month and a half ago, maybe 2 months, about e-cigarettes, vapes, and the tobacco that lobbying to kids, you know. And this time in their presentation, they shared stores. They went to local stores. Jerry's actually has all their tobacco products behind the counter. Nothing's up front near the candy or anything like that. And then a couple of other stores, Rocks was all behind the counter. Nothing that kids can be tempted towards. A couple of mom and pops, one in my ward, one in Dave's ward. They had pictures of chewing tobacco right next to candy, right next to gum. And so I asked, you know, there was also a couple other people there. Representative Serpa was there. And they're looking for something the town can do. And what they supplied to me was what other towns' ordinances are. And I'm actually reading over them now. There's 3 or 4 different towns on ordinances where these stores cannot put product near kids' candy or snacks or anything like that. So it also restricts them from selling these products right on the front counter. They'd have to be behind the counter. There are many ordinances out there that Central Falls has. But I think it was Pawtucket, Central Falls, North Kingston. They do not allow those types of products in with candy. So once I get through reading all these ordinances, I want to send them over. I wish I was trying to catch Al before he left. I'll send them over to Al and see if we can word it up to where West Warwick can also have that type of ordinance. Again, they showed us, you know, grape cigars and grape gum. Well, grape tobacco, grape gum smelt identical. And it's no hidden secret. The tobacco companies, they call, you know, they call the kids their future business. And, you know, and it's the way they showed that video to us and represented it to us, you could tell the market's towards kids. And one of the things that they're going to be doing also is presenting that to the school committee. Then they're going to try to go further where the students can actually present it to the students. And I think, personally, I think kids would rather hear it from kids than sometimes adults. And, you know, the peer pressure and, you know, they really got into depth in this conversation there. And again, I thank Judith Chick and her group, Kimberly Main and SAD. They made homemade lasagna, meatballs, salad, and they had everybody there. They invited the parents, and it was a good thing. And I think, like I said, I think awareness is key here. So again, they're going to push to the school committee to see all the parents and teachers receive the thing, but none of the students receive the presentation. So they're going to try to get that presentation to the students. But also, like I said, I'm going to work on those ordinances and see if I can get that here before November. The one thing I'm having the toughest problem with is trying to find somebody to carve a tree. I have reached out, you know, obviously we cut down the Phoenix tree. The stump's been sitting there since we cut it down. We actually made the Projo, unfortunately, last week about somebody had filed a complaint that the tree was still there, and the Projo took a picture, and, you know.
Why is it always the out-of-towners
Yeah, well, it's unfortunate, the out-of-towner was picking up his father at the nursing home in Coventry and complaining about the tree. That's fine, I understand it, it's in a park, it's in front of the bench. I've reached out to 5 or 6 tree carvers to make a bench out of that tree, and I have had no luck. I've even had a
How
West
about Casella's wood? They can carve it, they can, it's not gonna be
Angela, nobody's
sand, but to
returning
make
my
a
call,
bench.
so if anybody has any ideas.
I'll make a few, if you remind me tomorrow, I'll
You know.
make a phone call in West Greenwich.
I also talked to David Horter. He is going to be there on Thanksgiving night, and I'd like to get that bench done because I'd like to get the plaque done. So I'd like to get all that done before Thanksgiving night.
I mean, the bench, I mean, they could cut that.
Yeah, we can move the
Probably
wood.
Cut that right there.
There's a way to move the wood. We have it where you can just
They
pick it up
probably
and
could
take
cut it
away.
right there.
Yeah.
Because they do it with a chainsaw, and then what they do,
Contest.
they get a log, and they'll V the log and on both sides, and then they'll cut that big stump in half and lay it right on top. And then you can engrave anything you want.
Dave
with it.
Lombari sent me an email with a company. I've called them twice. They haven't called back, so I just don't know
Remind me tomorrow.
if there's a big business or if it's just
Situate
somebody.
Art Festival is going to be opening up.
Yeah, so again, I'll still, but if anybody has any ideas, email me, let me know, and, because we gotta get that log out of there.
I'll give a whack at it.
Yeah, I'm not giving a whack at, I'll try anything once, including a pie eating contest, but I'm not doing log cutting.
How's D'Amico at eating logs?
John, can you eat trees?
You guys eat pie, but you're afraid of going after that tree.
Oh, boy. That's all I have really, and 2 that I'm aware of. Angela, 1?
Yeah, few things, all the road paving's coming out great, Cotty's doing a hell of a job. Just to clear up a couple of insults, I guess, to me, the people that come out maybe 2 months out of 2 years and have to criticize, just to bring a few things up to speed or bring certain person up to speed. Ward 1, as of right now, between the water company and the bond money, as of today, has the most roads that's ever been done in town. Not saying that Ward 2, 3, 4, 5 is going to have it, depending on how many water lines come. That's number 1. Number 2, about getting green, I think that this council worked their butts off along with the manager, and it was all unanimously voted upon. The wind turbines, the solar system on the Civic Center, the LED lights that we're going to own, saving the taxpayers millions of dollars over the years. I think that people who criticize should come to a council meeting and not just come to a council meeting once every 2 years because it's election time. And when you put out some literature out there, please put the truth. Don't make accusations about someone that's not true, no matter if it's me or Ed or anyone else. Just be honest. Don't try and fool the people. They know what you're doing. They see the progress. And I just want to get that out there because I don't see any of these people breaking their necks to become on the boards, helping out charitable organizations, or I don't see any names on these upcoming appointments. Just that it's frustrating knowing that whether you like us or you don't, if we do the job, we're doing the job on your behalf. And that's all I have to say in Ward 1. I'm very proud of what I have accomplished in the past 10 years. I don't think any council member, and I'm not patting myself, any council person in Ward 1, and I'm not patting myself on the back, that took this to heart the way that I did, and the way I hope my constituents and the citizens of this town. That's all I have to say on that. So if there's any repercussions of it, you can please call me if I haven't done you right, which I don't think anyone in this ward could tell me that I didn't, whether I've had disagreements with you or not. I have never refused to help anyone in this ward. So I just want to clarify that, and thank you all, and thank my district, and that's all I have.
We're going to have to give your opponent equal time now, or what?
It's political season, huh?
That's what you call,
Taking advantage of the
taking
microphone.
advantage of the microphone.
I do
You get your perks.
What I agree with is when you mentioned the progress, and I agree with you, Angelo, and I'm glad that you said it, is that, this town council made some big progress, and it wasn't just us, it was with the help of the town manager and the finance director and all the people, from the citizens to the unions to everyone to the school committee. But I'm glad you labeled it as progress, because I truly believe it's progress, and it's good progress for the town. So.
Call a spade, right?
Yep.
Good.
Fred, I do have one more. Hey, Mary Ann, pay attention over there. Hey, Fred, I do have one more. I have a road, Lamfair Street. It's in the Phoenix section. If you're meeting with Coventry, Coventry owns right down the middle. The road is horrendous. Can you see if they would like to go 50-50 on that road?
Yeah, I asked them that a few years ago.
I got the West Warwick side.
I end up paying for the same.
I got the Coventry side yelling at me, and I'm like, guys, I can't pave a Coventry road, but if they want to pay for half, we'll be more than happy
Remember
to.
Herbert Street? That's
Yeah.
on the same street. It was like
It's-
horrendous. Hadn't been done in how many years, and Coventry wouldn't budge. It
Little
wouldn't.
sewer issue we
Paying
can
it.
negotiate with.
Yeah, well, again, and I'd like to help them, but I can't do the whole road if it's half of Coventry. I know I'd get crucified, but if Coventry wants to pay their share and we can get the whole road done, it'd be great. Yeah, it's not all that, it's not a big road. It's probably, no, it might be it's an old road, it's a 100-year-old road.
Reclaim.
But it's, yeah.
How much money you got left, Gaza?
I think I'll have enough.
You can have Tucker's last 25 cents.
Yeah.
Upcoming appointments, Juvenile Hearing Board, Patuxent River Authority, Recreation Committee, Planning Board, Sewer Use Board of Review, West Warwick Housing Authority, Zoning Board of Review, which has been filled, but now that will be an alternate opening up. Development Commission, Arctic Redevelopment Commission, which was already filled last meeting, so that's all set, so that'll be off the next agenda. Pension Board, 3-year terms, I guess all of them are coming up. Doesn't say 3-year terms. Technology Committee, and public comment. Council, anything? Public comment, anything?
Motion.
To adjourn. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Oh, now we can eat supper.
Ayes have it.
To watch the debate.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm gonna go watch that.
That one's not working.
The VP one's boring. Even Trump at Hillary was boring.
Saturday Night Live was hilarious.
That was hilarious. I had to go back and rewatch that twice.
So Mrs. Clinton, Mrs. Clinton, what does it say to you? It says I'm the next president.
No, can I give him my 2 minutes? I defer.
That guy, Joe Cornicelli, sat down at fucking Cumberland Farms the other day, berated me.